All right, all right. Welcome back for another edition of Tenement TV. We have Sal and Rhyme here joining in. Happy that you guys are joining in as well. We're going to be talking Olympic hoops today, talking some baseball trade deadline, and then leading into the NFL Hall of Fame game, which is starting tonight. So, Rhyme, Sal, how are we doing, guys?
Fantastic. Are the Olympics going on right now? I haven't heard anything about them. Nothing at all.
Where are you calling in from, Ram?
Calling in from Milan.
Ooh, Milan.
So the Navili neighborhood to be specific, but yeah, enjoying our time here in Italy, getting ready for ETH Milan.
Very nice, man. Very nice.
What's the vibe there? Or how's the Olympic coverage? I mean, are they locked in or?
I don't know. I've kind of been locked in the house a little bit, so I don't know what the pulse is, and it seems to be the norm for the locals to head up to the mountains and lakes because they can't do the heat in Milan. So it's like 98 degrees right now. I don't know what that is in Celsius. We're Americans still. But yeah, haven't really got to experience a lot. Not a lot to report back with, not going to lie. So a little disappointing on that end, but we're here to work at the end of the day.
Well, hey, it sounds exciting. So let's jump into it here. Olympic basketball. Quite a display we've seen so far from, I think a lot of the people that were maybe concerned with Team USA. I think a lot of those concerns can be put to rest. Maybe time to move on from those. And I think the discussion can be about how much are they going to win the gold medal game by. That's where I'm at. Where do you weigh in, Sal?
Yeah, I wouldn't get so ahead of yourself, man. Canada's look good. Like, Canada has straight up given every single team that work. Like, it is definitely between USA, Canada, and I would say maybe France if they get their act together. But I mean, USA has looked good. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I wouldn't say they've looked fantastic. I mean, I still would have expected them to beat South Sudan in, by a little bit more. South Sudan covered that spread of 29 and a half points. But I think they're still experimenting with rotations. We saw Joel Embiid sit last game, which we were calling for. I mean, not calling for him to sit completely, but I mean, did it.
I'm glad you mentioned that because before we go too much further, we got a Joel Embiid highlight reel from the last game that we're going to throw up for the
cannon. Trendsetter. Jello beats.
Look, I be riding through my old hood, but I'm in my new whip. Same old.
Well, and that's it. That was the Joel Embiid highlight reel from the South Sudan showdown.
Who's having a better time, Joel Embiid or Jason Tatum right now?
Well, just purely looking at the stats, man, I thought Jason Tatum was not good in terms of high fives and Gatorades passed, but Embiid seems to be like struggling a little bit more. Tyrese Halliburton is definitely top tier in those categories.
I mean, he came in and all he started doing was draining threes. He's done nothing but give high fives left and right, make sure everyone's hydrated and in good spirits. Then he comes in the court. What does he do? Drains 2 threes, goes back. All right, I'm good, guys. Like, my work here is finished for today. You guys got it from here.
Gets right back to passing out the Gatorades.
Yeah, right. Hey, understand your role. Meanwhile, Joel Embiid parked on the bench looking like he ate too much at a French restaurant. I mean, we've all been there where you're like slumped over. He's just like, he was uncomfortable, right? I said it right away. It's like, look at this man. Yeah, look at this guy. You knew right away there was no chance he was going to see the court. There was no chance in hell he was showing up to play. He's like, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
For real, man.
I'm here for the gold medal ride. Rhyme, what were you gonna say? I mean, you had some Joel Embiid opinions here.
I'm just very over that man. Like that is probably the most spoiled, like lacking self-awareness superstar that I feel like we've had. I don't even know why he's on the US team to begin with. Like I don't know. I'm gonna start sounding like a Republican or something, but like I just don't
Hey,
understand why he's
stick
on
to
this team.
sports. Stick to
I'm over
sports.
I'm over here trying to save the Tenement brand and not bring it up, but yeah, I mean he's just that. What did you expect he was going to do? If he's not the center of attention, he's just going to be sulking, and that's what he's doing. And like I would rather talk about literally anything else than Joel Embiid, who shouldn't even be on the team. You know who should be on the team? Caitlin Clark. But we're going to talk about the men's right now, and like LeBron is the biggest story, right? At least the men's team.
Yeah, Burger King James, as they're calling him. As the fans are
Who is calling him that?
the fan, the lady that had the Burger King hat, she had the Burger King crown on that said LeBron James next to the Chef Curry fan.
Oh goodness, I missed that one.
I'm gonna find this one.
I've been to. Go ahead, Sal.
No, I was gonna say I did see the Burger King James, but I did not actually. I mean, I just thought it was a Burger King crown. I didn't think that it said LeBron on it.
Oh yeah. Let's get in
here. That's wild, man. I've heard L'America or whatever. What was it? L'America James or something?
It's Captain America as far as I'm concerned. But I do have a little bit of a hot take, as LeBron is the focus. I mean, and rightfully so. Like, I don't think we've ever seen an aura than that man carrying the American flag on the boat. I mean, it's the most patriotic that I've ever felt in a long time. Yeah, they look exactly like I thought they would.
It's the modified, LeBron King, it says up there. So she wrote over it with the these are like legendary Team USA fans as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think that crown came all the way from America?
I don't know. It would be hard to maintain its integrity there. That looks like a crispy Burger King crown. So I feel like that was likely sourced domestically.
I'm surprised if they even have Burger King in France.
Oh, they do. They do. Not as prevalent as we do here in North America.
Not on every street corner, but
Whopper Wednesday's universal, I guess.
Yeah, there's a McDonald's right around the corner from me, and the nicest KFC that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I'm not sure Joel Embiid would have agreed to go if they didn't have Burger Kings there. So,
man, I saw a video of Dwayne Wade coming back from KFC or something like that for his first meal in France, and like the girl was hating on him because she's like, maybe I can understand like a young NBA player like, traveling out of North America for the first time for Olympics or something, grabbing some Burger King or KFC or whatever on the go. But Dwayne Wade, like, you're a vet, you're 40 years old, like, I don't know, you're well traveled, you're
have some dignity,
you got all
man.
the money in the world. Have some dignity, yeah.
I've had mixed. I feel like he's been okay-ish as an announcer. He also said yesterday, he's like, well, I know there's a lot of people out there that aren't familiar with Derek White's game. And I'm thinking, who are these people? And have they ever watched basketball before? Because, you could maybe say that about Spurs Derek White, but this man has been to the finals and been kind of at the forefront of this. He is the ultimate glue guy on this Celtics team. And it's like, if you're not, I know there are casuals that maybe drop in to start, but I don't know. Are they watching the Olympic basketball or are they watching the swimming? These are basketball fans watching these games.
Yeah, it's actually kind of surprising, man. There are way too many basketball fans who are not familiar with Derek White's game. Like, you can just go to any of those posts where it's like Derek White will be replacing Kawhi Leonard, and all the casuals just filling up the comments.
Derek White playing more than Jason Tatum, though, is hilarious.
I did see it was a freezing cold takes exposed that was recirculating. It was some Celtics beat writer it was right after the trade happened, and he says, "Well, I hate to say it, but Brad Stevens finally made his first major mistake as GM of the Celtics because this trade is a complete disaster. This is a horrible move for the Celtics." I mean, he just went on and on about how the Derek White trade was so bad for them, and it. I mean, look, we all whiff from time to time, but to take a hard stance like that, I mean, he could not have been more wrong about that.
Man, every team needs a Derek White.
Yeah. That guy fits on every roster.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I don't want to bring the attention to Canada too much here, but that's actually literally
Let's do it.
That's why Canada is playing well, because they've got defenders like Derek White type guys, like, Lou Dort or Dylan Brooks, just elite wing defenders, and they're just giving every other player on the wing a lot of problems. And that's just been the path to success for Canada so far. And like, obviously you got Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all positive defenders on the wing. You know what I mean?
It's going to be so fun to watch Germany wipe the floor with Canada in the next round in the tournament.
I don't know. I mean, Germany, Dennis Schroeder is a force to be reckoned with.
Menace. He's a menace. And then you have Franz Wagner, who might legitimately be one of the most underrated players in the entire NBA. So, and he just kind of reminds me of that guy that just goes off on the Olympics. I don't know how many he's been in. I mean, it can't be more than his second if it's not his first, but like, it just seems like that type of player that makes a name for himself during this time. So I definitely don't discount it. As much as I like to just troll Canada, that is a belief that I hold strongly, regardless.
So here's what we got here. We got Canada in here. They've already clinched and advanced. We are looking at Australia and Spain, both with a berth on the line. Greece just laying a complete egg. Thanasis just couldn't show up these Olympics. So
Costa Koufis is not walking through this door.
You hate to see it. And let's see. Let's get to the next.
Canada's got Spain next. They're 9.5-point favorites over Spain. I think that's going to be a close game, though, because Spain's got to win, right?
You would think, but as you said in the last episode, this is not your father's the Gasol brothers Spain. Rudy Fernandez is not walking through that door.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. I don't know, man. They played the game the right way, the FIBA game. Like, I expect it to be a close game. I mean, Australia put up a good fight for a little bit, but Canada just kind of closed it out strong.
If only they had Ben Simmons.
Yeah, he was catching some big fish. I saw this guy will do anything but play basketball. Like, I literally woke up this morning and my feed was filled with 3 back-to-back posts of Ben Simmons fishing, and like, they were massive fish. Like, kudos to him, man. Very nice guy. But like, all I could think about is him straining his back trying to pick up whatever giant fish that was. Like, he was really like his reel was bent and his back was bent, man. Like, I was concerned.
Yeah, I mean, with a guy who allegedly is, just dealing with chronic back struggles constantly, but we have yet to. I mean, we're in the Ben Simmons fishing videos portion of the summer. We haven't quite reached the portion of the summer where we see him draining threes in an empty gym. So once we get that, that's when that we are, we're on our way.
I think we might have. Progressed past that as a society. Like, I think we might have evolved.
Ben Simmons loading this for the next year.
Yeah, man.
I think I said I was saying before. You remember late career Carmelo, which, look, I love me some Melo, stay mellow, but at the end of his career, when he started talking about, I'm a business guy and I'm here about my business and my brand. Like, when he was kind of fading off in New York and, not winning playoff series. And
are Carmelo Anthony and Cam Newton the same person?
it depends. Are we talking hoodie Mello or are we talking towel
Yeah.
on the head? Towel
Yeah,
head on the head, Cam Newton.
Hoodie Mello and cigar Cam. Like that's the same that's the same picture, right?
Yeah, definitely. Career-wise, I'm not sure if they're the same person.
Mello's definitely,
but cigar Mello, sorry, hoodie Mello, man, they want to be the same person. I don't know if they are the same person, but they want to be. They're both striving to be the same person for sure.
Mello had the career that Cam thinks that he had.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's move on to into Group B, which I'm pretty sure is all wrapped up. We got Germany and France, no surprises there. Easily coasting. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate that third game. I mean, I don't know if it carries a lot of weight. Go ahead, Sal.
I don't really know how seeding works and what the implications are there, but I'm sure it does matter. But I do want to say that I don't know if France coasted by. Japan had them on the ropes. Like I forget the name of the point guard on the France team, but he hit an 1-3 to take the game to overtime. And Japan was getting no foul calls at all that entire fourth quarter, and they were looking good. In overtime, France obviously took over, but like they were real close to disappointing a lot of French people at home.
Well, that's what they do in big tournaments, right? That's what they did the Euros, and now we're just cycling through it here into the Olympics.
Yeah,
France is having a really rough go.
I can just imagine the French people like making the French basketball team just swim in that river for a little bit as punishment, man.
Just getting off the bus and throwing croissants at them.
Yeah. I'm a bit worried for France, to be honest. They haven't looked as good as they should.
I mean, it's Wemby and Rudy Gobert, who we keep hearing is good, but I mean, I'm not going to go Draymond Green on it, but I mean, if that's your number two, ask Donovan Mitchell. Whether that's the Olympics, whether that's the Western Conference, like, thank you. That's really what we all wanted.
This has been the image of the tournament so far as I'm concerned.
And they won. What did they win by? 1 point, 2 points?
They ended up winning by like 5 or 6 or something, but in overtime, which says a lot. And that's with Japan missing Rui Hachimura, who I think fouled out or something like that. It wasn't like if they had Hachimura, I feel like they would have got a few more foul calls and probably been able to seal out that game.
Yeah, we have yet to see, international Rui be unlocked in the way that we've seen some of the other guys, such as the aforementioned, FIBA Dennis Schroeder. We went into the vault, the history vault, and we were talking a little bit about Puerto Rico Carlos Arroyo and some of the other throwbacks, blasts from the past. Schroeder's having some. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, who are some of your favorites that you've seen over the years? I mean, we have, other than Schroeder, we have yet really to see somebody emerge this year as that level, to kind of unlock that legendary international performance. But maybe it's Dort. Maybe we could be entering the torture chamber into the next round.
Maybe RJ Barrett, man. I mean, you kind of expect it out of him a little bit. Like, he's not that underrated.
Well, the Knicks fans certainly didn't, but maybe now.
Yeah.
To be Canadian and so optimistic.
Well, I heard an interesting stat yesterday as my Instagram feed was just filled with Team Canada propaganda. Since getting traded to the Raptors, RJ Barrett's had a higher true shooting percentage than Jason Tatum, and the same true shooting percentage as Steph Curry. And that's translated to Canada ball because he's averaging like 20 plus points. I think like 4.5 assists, 6-7 rebounds, something like that. He's a problem, man.
Well, kind of rooting for Canada. It's been a rough year for them. So
Hey, look, I'll be happy if we medal. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
I don't,
Get on
I
the
don't need
podium.
I don't
Get
need the
on the
gold. I don't need
podium.
the gold. I mean, would the gold be nice? Yeah, sure. I don't need the gold. Silver would be amazing. Bronze would be cool. You know?
That might be the most Canadian thing that I've ever heard.
Yeah. I
We
mean,
don't.
I'm just realistic. Okay, look, I'm realistic because a lot of our game, a lot of Team Canada's game is really centered around getting to the rim. Ultimately, you can't really do that against Anthony Davis, you know, and you maybe can't do that against Rudy Gobert and Wembanyama as well, right? Like, it's just not a good like matchup in that sense.
Yeah,
I
and
actually
that's
had. Go ahead, Jack.
no, you go.
I was just gonna say I actually had some nice notes about the Canada basketball team in my preparation doc.
Good, let's
But
hear it.
well, I remembered that it's more fun to troll Canada, so I really wasn't sure what else to say. But as far as guard play, being objective, I mean that's where they really shine, right? Like, you've got Shai, you've got Jamal Murray, Lou Dort there on the perimeter being an absolute demon. The only thing they really lack is that inside presence. And I know they have like Dwight Powell and Kelly Olynyk.
They
but
left Zach Edey at home.
they,
Left him at
I
home.
forgot.
That
I
man was
forgot.
built.
Was that a choice?
No, it wasn't.
That wasn't a choice. That
Memphis-
wasn't a choice.
Memphis Grizzlies.
Memphis blocked it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Just the same way the Warriors blocked Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins would have been valuable on this team too, man. Obviously, like Zach Edey would have been critical though, especially against USA. And
That
France.
man was built for the FIBA game.
I'd be very curious to see what he would look like.
No
especially
3
since
seconds,
he's been working
no
on
three in the
threes.
key, and no goaltending. Like he was built for the FIBA game.
And you want to talk about the 3-point videos? Like he's been releasing. I mean, he's been shooting. He's been in the gym more than Ben Simmons has. That's for sure.
Without a
And
doubt.
the stroke looks a whole lot nicer.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Big Zach Edey guy. Zach Edey truther. Calling it right now. Rookie of the year.
I'm bullish on his outlook with the Grizzlies, man. Like I think he's gonna play a decent chunk, and I think he's gonna play extremely well, man, for them. Like it's just a nice fit overall.
That pick and roll with Ja's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. I just hope that we get
Speaking of shooting,
I hope we get a video of Ja dunking on Edey in practice or something though. Just for entertainment purposes.
yeah, no, we definitely need it. So that's Group A. Group B, not like I was saying. I mean, Germany, France, like I don't know. Hopefully, there's some. We don't see guys getting rested or rotated. I mean, Germany has, as far as like for and against, they've been dominating their opponents here. Moving on into Group C, this is where things get interesting because, obviously USA has their spot wrapped up, but Serbia and South Sudan going into a head-to-head showdown for, for clinching a spot is, I mean, that seems like that's going to be must-see TV because South Sudan, it's not like they're a talentless group. They have some guys. They certainly don't stack up against most of these teams, but at the same time, those guys don't quit and they play, they sign up for to play every last minute of the game. And they, it doesn't matter if they're trailing by 20, 30, they're going to keep clawing tooth and nail. And they're just going to, and you can't kind of fall asleep at the wheel there or they can come back and clip you. So what do you guys think there with South Sudan, Serbia?
I think it's going to be interesting, man, but I think Serbia crushes them. Like, ultimately, like, Jokic was it yesterday against Puerto Rico. He didn't even need to score. He had 14 points, 9 assists, 15 rebounds. Like, Puerto Rico didn't have an answer for him, and I'm not sure South Sudan does either. Man,
there's something about the South Sudan team, right? Like, it's got early, well, I don't want to have the negative connotation, but it's got that feel of like the early Colorado football season last year. It's like they popped, they made a statement and people rallying behind them, but I think they've got a little more staying power than that Colorado team. If they were to pull up the upset on Serbia, I wouldn't be too surprised. I mean, because at the end of the day, Serbia is completely dependent on Joker, and like, how much does he really care, honestly? Like, this is you got on one side you have complete apathy, on the other side you have, you know, house money and all the motivation in the world. And
he's probably upset that this is pulling him away from time and his horse stables, would be my
I'm
guess.
dude, that man cannot wait to go home to the stables. Like, so I don't know. I'm not calling the upset, but I mean, South Sudan, I feel like is probably, if it's not LeBron James being the story of the tourney, it's South Sudan and what they're doing. And it looks like that's a program that is very much on the up and up. You know, they've got NBA players that are up and down the organization, helping build it up. You know, Royale Ivy, for all the, you know, NCAA basketball degenerates from the early 2000s, is head coach. Luol Deng is basically running the program. And I know there's a handful of others, you know, that have their hands involved in the program. So, you know, very interested to see where that's going to be, you know, especially, you know, since people like Joel Embiid, you know, abandon them, you know, little extra mark.
That was
little extra
Cameroon.
incentive.
That was
Oh,
Cameroon.
Cameroon.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Okay. So that was, I thought that one of the people called them out, but yeah, that was just a complete misstep.
Embiid was talking about South Sudan.
Yeah, he was probably looking to sign with them in free agency, would be my guess.
But the thing
Yeah,
about
man.
South Sudan is they don't even have all the talent that they could have. Like, there are a couple players that when South Sudan was formed like 19 years ago, right? They split from Sudan.
Right.
And when that happened, a lot of Sudanese people who became athletes down the line basically went to Australia, or I think some went to Canada as well. And so there are a lot of South Sudan native players that could eventually just transition the nationality or whatever to South Sudan and join that team. Like, I think like the Thon Makers of the world.
Who can forget?
Yeah, I think those, like,
Still
the three
trying
brothers,
to.
the Baker brothers, I think they're all from South Sudan originally, but they are currently in Australia's program. But I heard Don Maker was trying to get leave from Australia to join South Sudan. They didn't grant it ahead of this Olympics, but they probably will for the next.
Yeah, I remember being really in on the Thon Maker sweepstakes because he was in the mix to possibly go to Indiana for college. He was going to go to the Hoosiers, and I was like really on board the Thon Maker sweepstakes, and only to be disappointed, and then to later be not disappointed by missing out on him. So, you know, I will say there are a couple guys that I've thought about kind of in that same Thon Maker mold. I was thinking the other day, I wish we had Bol out here. You know, I would love to see a guy like that. I feel like would be incredible on this type of format.
He's South Sudanese. I don't know why.
Right. That's, you know, I would love to see him out here.
I think he's nationality wise, he's an American, but I would love to see him get that Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Switcheroo going on. You know.
Yeah, we should loosen up the reins a little bit, or loosen up the transfer portal on what guys can do here.
Yeah, Canada let I think his name is Mariel Shayok or whatever on South Sudan. He was born in Canada actually, and he's representing South Sudan. He's like, people call him like the South Sudanese KD or something like that, which is a little bit ridiculous, but.
Hey, well, you know, what's also ridiculous is what they've been able to accomplish despite having no, as you've mentioned, Sal, no indoor basketball courts in the entire country. One under construction, currently being built, but, you know, to do what they've done and even be at this level and semi-competitive, you know, they certainly haven't been they haven't embarrassed themselves by any stretch. So,
and it'd be remiss to not acknowledge the fact that this is all funded by Luol Deng and that Lakers contract that they gave him when they renegotiated the CBA rights.
Yeah, thank you, Mitch Kupchak.
Yeah, exactly. Luol Deng got paid, and now it's paying dividends for South Sudan.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Absolutely. So, any last thoughts here before we shift into baseball talk?
Nope, but I'm looking to see what happens when we pass group stage. I guess we'll have a good idea what the bracket looks like. I don't
Yeah.
really know like how that works. Do you know how this like the bracket seeding works? Like if two teams are making it out of each group, what happens next?
Yeah, and then I think it's whoever has the most points. Like, so then it could be like the best third place team, because right, like if it's two from each, well, if it's two from each group, that's just six. So that's probably, and then I think it's the top two third place teams make it.
Oh, so it's not over for those that are in that.
Yeah. I mean, for Greece and Thanasis, I think we can close the book on that chapter, but everyone else I think is still in the mix. Puerto Rico's done, but so there are some teams that I think are certainly, done for. But
Yeah, anybody who went 0 for 2, basically, right?
yeah. But yeah, hate to. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how much the U.S. ends up winning the gold medal game by. That's what I'm looking for. So, moving into the baseball trade deadline, I know a couple episodes ago we kind of touched on a little bit of All-Star break, looking into the second half, and some teams to keep an eye on. How do we feel about teams that have either improved or gotten better versus some teams that decided to do nothing? I know we were joking a little bit in the Telegram group about how there was no shortage of mid, 3 to 4, number 3, number 4 rotation pitchers that were getting shelled out all over the place. So, what moves were you most excited about to see out in the open trade market?
Number 3 and number 4 starters. I mean, you got to start with John Mozeliak, the
We
king.
got the market corner.
I mean, there's nobody that loves number 3 and 4 starters more than that man. Allergic to aces, from what I've gathered the last several years, agonizing as a Cardinals fan, but not super. I don't know. I've got positive feelings about what the Cardinals did. They filled 3 major needs. They did get Eric Fetty, who has been very good this year. I mean, very solid number 3. I would like the Cardinals to sign more players that didn't play somewhere in Asia the year before. But CRA is around 3 for this year, and people are getting better at translating those talents over stateside. So optimistic. Hopefully that at least gets them into the playoffs. I have no delusions that they're going to be able to compete with anyone like the Phillies or the Dodgers, who got Jack Flaherty for Tungsten O'Doyle baseball cards and some Cracker Jacks. But yeah, happy to see Tommy Pham back, though. Little
What's
fire,
up, fam?
little fire in the Cardinals clubhouse. We needed that. We'll see how that ages, but yeah, overall, kind of another Cardinals deadline. Some decent wins where we didn't give up too much, but nothing too exciting. Whereas people like the Dodgers, ultra aggressive. People like the Orioles, I mean, trading 2 of their top 5 prospects for Trevor fucking Rogers, if you can make sense of that for me, because I surely can't. And then I think the big one, the biggest difference maker is going to be Randy Arozarena with the Mariners, because not only do they lead baseball in ERA by quite a wide margin. I can't remember what their streak was at some point this year, but it was something like going 30 games and not allowing more than like 1 or 2 runs by starters, like something just laughable. So now you have Julio Rodriguez, who's hitting almost 400 for the month of July, starting to heat up, and you add Randy Arozarena, who is statistically one of the greatest October performers of all time. I mean, the Mariners might be able to shake the meme allegations and make some noise in this playoffs. So I like them as much as anybody, and especially what they did at the deadline. So.
Yeah, man, I'm with you on the Mariners take there, man. I think they're big winners here. I think J-Rod is hurt right now. he was definitely
He
raking
is.
it before the before the All-Star break, though. And I think just getting a Rosarena, I think that buys them some time. They're gonna, they're gonna win games. You know what I mean? In boring fashion, but they're gonna win games. And I like the move, man. I like the move. It's nice to put some talent around J-Rod in that lineup, right?
Yeah, it's nice to see. And I know that they were in conversations with the Cardinals pretty heavy this offseason. And, just another coulda, shoulda, woulda for the Birds, where Nolan Gorman was being floated around for any one of their top pitchers. Logan Gilbert seemed to be the one that they were zeroing in on. But, Brian Wu was in those conversations. And, for a little bit more, Bryce Miller was too, possibly. But, yeah, this Mariners team has been building for a long time, and them and the Orioles, I think, are, as long as people stay healthy, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And, taking the mantle from the Astros, I think the Astros dynasty is, run its course for the most part. And these are the teams I think that we're going to be hearing a lot more about for the next, 5 years. And I think that probably starts now.
Yeah. And I think it's exciting to see fresh blood, like, teams like the Mariners and Orioles who have been down for so long. And just, I mean, the Mariners, how many years did we see them start out hot out of the gates and everybody says, oh, is this the Mariners year? And then they just kind of gradually and slowly fade back into the nothingness. But that pitching rotation is serious, and any one of those guys is capable of a complete game shutout on any given night. And when you have that type of pitching, and then you can add on some guys that can actually make some things happen with the bat, between Julio and now Randy, that's a team that can make some noise. The Orioles, Camden is an awesome atmosphere, especially when they're good. And I think we saw last year in the playoffs, those fans they've been starving to see this, and they are a little young. I don't have a lot of confidence in their pitching, but it's definitely a fun team. And, I could see them doing a little bit, but ultimately, I think we're all just kind of hoping that as long as it's not the Yankees, anyone in the AL is we're all on board for, right?
I gotta say, Jazz Chisholm on the Yankees.
Yeah,
fit though, man.
Yeah, what a move! What a move! I mean, they bring him in, and he had 4 home runs in his first 3 games.
Yeah,
maybe more. It might have been more than that.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track anymore, man.
Yeah,
I have a fantasy team up right now, so yeah, he's hit 4 home runs since the trade. He's scored 6 runs, 8 RBIs, 1 stolen base in 4 games. That's ridiculous. And he looked good doing it, man. He's always got the dripped out glove and everything, man.
He's the player that they kept trying to tell us Gleyber Torres was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
happy to see Jazz Chisholm be free, though.
I know. Anytime anybody gets freed from captivity of the Miami Marlins, it's always good to see.
Yeah, for sure. I think we feel the same way about anybody leaving the White Sox too, right?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely, the White Sox. I mean, I know that we were showing the pictures of Tommy Pham, the before and after, but I feel for some of my Chicago buddies because here's the thing: not only do they have to deal with Jerry Reinsdorf with the White Sox, they have to deal with him with the Bulls too, and he's really ruined both franchises, run them completely into the ground. Not to get too deep into the NBA weeds here, but I mean, to be honest, if they never had Michael Jordan, they would quite literally be considered the worst NBA franchise of all time. I mean, they've been horrible outside of that. They've been horribly run. It's just bad move after bad move. And there's really nothing to speak of outside of one era. And then where they all say, oh, well, Derrick Rose had that one MVP year. Okay, cool.
I love that Chicago Bulls team, though.
Yeah, then his knee exploded. So
yeah, then his knee exploded. Yeah. Joakim Noah, man, like one of the most underrated players.
Prime Joakim, man. Oof. That was an era.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it's just It's a tough scene in for the White Sox. You know, last year they had fans getting grazed by bullets that from guns being hit under fans' belly fat, and you know now now we're losing, the heart and soul of their team and Tommy Pham. So
Yeah.
and what I think really hurts the most is when you're a team like that, because as we were saying with the Orioles, they're a good team, or they weren't necessarily playing, they weren't on top of the standings or contending by any means, but they had this pipeline building for so long where they had this crop of prospects that they have been loading, that we've been hearing about for a couple of years, and now they're all here. Now they're arrived, and now we're kind of seeing the fruits of that labor, and the farm system kind of all coming up. The White Sox don't have that. They don't even have any light at the end of the tunnel right now. I mean, there's nothing even to look forward to. It's the cupboard is empty and the team sucks. So I don't know. When are they moving to Nashville? That's what I want to know.
Oh, don't play with me. Don't play with me. God, I want a team in Nashville so bad. Not even funny. But God, please don't make it the fucking White Sox.
Is Nashville a rumored like MLB destination?
Yes, Justin
Yeah,
Timberlake
they've been trying to
is part of
make
an
it
ownership
happen.
team. Yeah, it's very. I mean, it makes sense. Like Nashville really is that city, and in the South, I mean, it's really just the Braves. I mean, it's the Eastern Seaboard, it's the Braves, and you got to go to Texas to find more, or up north for the Cardinals and Chicago teams. But yeah, it's been bubbling for a while, and if there is the next team that moves, or the next team that is inaugurated, I think is going to be in Nashville. I don't think it's going to be Vegas.
Isn't Oakland moving to Vegas, or is that like not happening?
Yeah, I don't.
That's in the air right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
What
And
I
it's a
thought.
very bizarre situation. I think the only thing that's certain is that they are leaving Oakland, but now Vegas is seeming to like want to make a return on that. Like they're kind of bringing their receipt back to the store and saying, I think we were within the 30-day window of being able to turn this back, because I don't think we want this team here anymore. You know what? Why don't you guys stay? We're good with the NFL and the NHL.
Was it
Because
going to be a sale of the team and move, or was it just a move? Because I guess that changes things, because you just don't want the Oakland's owner. I don't even know who he is, but he's absolute garbage.
Clown.
I thought they bailed on the stadium. I thought the city bailed on the stadium plans.
And the mayor made some strange comments about how they should look back into reigniting those conversations of staying in Oakland. I mean, there was just some really strange commentary where I think we were all led to believe that it was a done deal, and then all of a sudden now there's kind of some backtracking. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like they have to build an indoor stadium there, right? Or at least a retractable roof. I mean, you guys have been to Vegas in the summer. You can't be outside unless you're in a pool. You can't be outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've never been to Vegas, but I would love the Oakland A's to come to Nashville and be the Nashville A's. However, that I feel like is unlikely, because whoever comes to Nashville is probably going to remake whatever identity in their own image, which I'm all for.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
A's are just so iconic.
Were the Nashville Sounds, was that an Oakland A's feeder? Were
maybe
they
at one point
of Oakland?
Maybe at one point there, I believe it's the Brewers now.
Oh, Nashville had a team before?
They have a AAA team.
Oh,
they have a AAA team there.
Pretty sweet stadium.
Yeah, it's a recently built stadium.
What's the crowd?
I'm like semi-recent.
I mean, they show better than the football games. Football games are abysmal.
What's the name of the park?
What's that?
What's the name of the park? First Horizon Park, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right on the riverfront.
10,000 people. They'd have to build a whole new stadium in Nashville.
Oh yeah, they definitely wouldn't be able to do it there.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing right now. They are building a huge new sports complex, and I mean, Nashville's not been able to keep up with the overall growth of the Metropolitan over the last 10 years. And, it's cost of issues, but the expansion that they're looking towards, and after the success of the NFL draft, that's really kind of what, blew the doors open. So there's going to be a world-class stadium sports complex that rivals SoFi, that rivals, Jerry World downtown. And I'm not sure when that will be started or finished, but it's definitely in the works and it has been confirmed.
Yeah. I mean, I hope you guys get a team, but I hope it's after Montreal gets the Expos back.
Yeah, can we make that happen? I mean, really, like we need
Or
the
just the
Expos back in
jerseys.
Montreal.
At
Just
least
the
just the jerseys. Like,
Man,
yeah.
I feel like the Rays should just split half the season with Montreal.
Or just the full season, really. I mean, Tampa.
Yeah, exactly.
Tampa
Those
wouldn't
are
notice.
games anyways.
Yeah, Tampa wouldn't notice.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've heard nothing but bad things about the Rays Stadium, the location, every single thing about it is a nightmare. They can't fill seats, and the people who go to those games are Canadians anyways. Like, they're literally like there's people who spend half their time in Florida. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the most baseball attendance that happens in the state of Florida is during spring training, when all the real baseball fans are down there in Jupiter, and the Cardinals are packing in Roger Dean Stadium for spring training, and it's like, they have more fans for spring training than these other native teams have for the regular season games. Or, if when the Marlins slipped into the playoffs, was that last year? That it's just, it's just unfortunate to see, because there are other fan bases that, such as Montreal, that would love to wrap their arms back around a team like that. And then, the people there, they're just, because I feel like a lot of them are, as you were saying, they're fans of other teams. It's not like there aren't baseball fans there, but they're not Marlins fans, and they're certainly not Rays fans. So
yeah, for sure. And the thing about the Expos is they have a stadium. I mean, they did. I don't know the state of it right now, but like, they had a stadium, right? But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
The jerseys and the hats are just iconic, man.
Oh my God, yeah. Love the Expos, all the Expos gear. Bring back the baby blues. They've had some iconic players come through there between Vlad and Pedro, and you can always find some old cool Expos players. Like, it's like, oh man, that guy played for the Expos. Like there's a lot of guys.
Brad
like
Wilkerson,
that.
baby.
Yeah. Who can forget? Speaking of who can forget,
not if you're from Indiana.
I'll say, yes. Him and Jamie Carroll. I mean, no one will ever forget those two. Don't even get me started on Scott Rowland. But before we go down that path, I want to, speaking of forgetting things, we have football tonight, guys, which I don't know how many people remember. I mean, every year the Hall of Fame game comes out of nowhere and sneaks up on me. But we have Bears-Texans tonight. We're going to have this in the app to make picks on this one, so keep an eye out for that. Caleb Williams, don't keep an eye out for him, because he will not be out there. Already backing out and not showing up for his team. So are we already on to a bad start for Caleb Williams here?
He's not playing?
Not playing.
Man.
Why?
Is he hurt, or just what's going on? I haven't been following anything NFL for the last 8 weeks, so you guys got to bring me up to speed here.
I don't disagree with him not playing, to be honest. I mean, there's not really much to gain from it. You know what he does. What, you want a couple more dollars, a couple more eyes on it? Like, yeah, cool. The NFL benefits. The Bears don't benefit. Caleb Williams doesn't benefit. There's nothing to gain from it. Everything they need to know about Caleb Williams, they know already. And if they don't, they're not going to learn it in the Hall of Fame game. They're going to learn it when the season starts, and their job is to protect that investment and protect that man to make sure that he can make it to the season and make it through it. So I don't think this is any kind of indictment on him or the organization. I think this is just kind of where we are. And if you want to blame anyone, you can blame Sean McVay, because that's the precedent that's been set.
I was just going to say, because actually, as opposed to blame, I was going to credit him because he was ahead of the curve on this. This is something that should have happened a long time ago. I don't even know why we have the preseason in the NFL, to be honest with you. Do you know who doesn't have the preseason? College football. They have spring football games where they play against their own teams. We don't need preseason. It's not like, what are we doing here? Nobody played. Ever since McVay finally showed people, hey, you don't have to play your guys here because they get enough wear and tear over the course of now a 17-game season. They don't need to be out there. You don't want to risk the injury. The only thing that these games are for is figuring out who your 54th and 55th player on your roster are. What you figure that out in camp. We don't need the preseason anymore.
We've evolved way past the junction boys. There's no reason to these are highly, highly skilled, highly trained, athletes. And, again, you're not learning anything new by putting them out there in a meaningless game. It's for the back end of the roster to be able to fill that out, see who's instinctual, see who's making plays, who's got, all these arbitrary boxes for the coaches to check. It's not to figure out if your first overall draft pick is what. Honestly, what are we looking for here? So it's just another thing for sports fans to complain, which they're very, very good at.
Yeah.
Well, I will say here, Jesus, let's get this squared away. With that in mind, as we said, this game is going to be out there. Who are you guys taking? Bears, Texans. Seems like we have a heavy on the Bears pick so far.
I honestly don't know enough here, man. Preseason to make a decision here, but and Caleb Williams being out, I don't know, man.
If you want 30, CJ Stroud is out too, so he's not playing either.
Whose fourth-string quarterback is?
I was gonna say, who was that Bears guy that he started a few games last year that had all the arm both full sleeve tattoos?
Bengard or something.
I want to say he played for Sargent, maybe. What was his name? He played for Northern Illinois, I think, but. That guy started some games, and I imagine he'll probably see quite a bit of run tonight.
You know what I'd love to see in this game? Dan Lefevre. If Dan Lefevre, this is preseason was made for Dan Lefevre's. If you don't know Dan Lefevre, throw it back. What is that? 10, 12, 15 years ago now? Crap. Now I'm aging myself, and I'm having a flashback. But yeah, that's my Dan Lefevre reference for the day. I feel like that's just necessary. It's a good day anytime you can talk about Dan Lefevre, the original dual threat quarterback.
Well, let's not forget college football is on the way too, as we were discussing earlier. That's only a few short weeks away that we will get Tyson Bagent. That's our Bears guy. So
there we go.
Who can forget him and Brett Rippon? Tyson Bagent out of Shepherd College, Brett Rippon from Boise State. So, we all remember those guys, legends of the college game, showing up tonight to play for the Bears. So thank you to those guys for showing up for work, something that Caleb Williams can't do tonight. So, like I said, we're excited. Football's still here. Whether or not, this game is going to be the must-watch event of the season or not, it's the sign of football starting. It's the sign that we are 1 week closer, 1 day closer, college and NFL starting up. So
will you be watching this preseason game? I want to know how degenerate you really are.
I will not be. To be honest with you, I will not be. I don't miss NFL games, like regular season games. I also don't watch preseason games. So,
Sal, you might have asked the wrong question though. Zach, will you be interacting with any apps and making predictions about any props or any scores?
No, I won't be betting on any games. I won't be betting on any games in the Hall of Fame. I don't bet on the NFL preseason.
Okay, just wanted to clear that up. It was not.
I put about as much stock into the preseason as my guy Sean McVay. I have similar views on the preseason as he does.
It's good to know
But
that there are
that's not
limits.
to say they're, hey, but here's the good thing. You don't have to put any bets on because you can sit here and you can throw in a pick in the Tenement app and you can earn points that way. So if you need to get your fix and scratch the itch and you feel compelled to bet on a game like this, why don't you just throw in a pick here instead and just take care of it that way rather than trying to, essentially waste money on the preseason slot machine.
Do yourself a favor, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's the stop. Get some help.
Do the right thing.
Yeah. If you're betting on the Hall of Fame game, get some help, and we're providing that help in the form of the Tenement app. We are here. We're here to provide this for you.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. Do yourself a favor. Do the right thing, man. Get some help if you're even considering it, and instead just head to the Tenement app. Make your picks on NFL preseason. We've got the basketball.
Take your free picks. Pick the Cards over the Cubs. More free picks there on the way. So any other locks that you guys see on the board for tonight, just to get anybody who's, for everybody who's watching that wants some free picks for tonight's slate outside of the Texans Bears. What do we think?
Royals
Give me the Fighting Bobby Witts.
Yeah, Royals over Detroit Tigers for sure.
Take the Guardians over the Orioles. Maybe the biggest sleeper in all of baseball. The Fighting Stephen Kwans.
Rich Homie Kwan.
And then the Braves and Marlins. Is that what that is? The Braves versus Marlins today?
Yes. Braves Marlins.
I'm not going to lie. I couldn't care less. I grew up hating the Braves, and the Marlins just sold their team for the 12th time in franchise history. So I don't even know who's on their
tough
roster.
Year for the Braves, man. After losing Strider and Acuna, two of the most exciting players in the entire league, much less your own team. To lose both of those guys for the season is, it's a tough time, and they're still kind of in the mix, but I can't imagine that it's a fun time as a Braves fan to be following this pennant chase. But at least they have a good role model there in Marcell Ozuna that they can look up to, who's done nothing but continue to rake and be an upstanding guy there in Atlanta ever since he left St. Louis.
I was surprised to see. I was looking at that game earlier, and I was surprised to see Whit Merrifield's on the Braves. Like, when did that happen?
Whit Merrifield's been bouncing around the last couple of years. He's lost a little bit of his magic. A little bit of a late bloomer.
Oh yeah,
but yeah.
As a Jays fan, we know he lost some magic. Definitely, man. But I did not know that he was released by the Phillies.
Yeah, I was going to say he did some time with the Phillies. Touch on the Jays real quick, Sal, before we wrap. I know obviously this season is we're already looking towards next season. How do we feel about the overall outlook on the Jays heading towards 25?
Yeah. Look, I'll say this: the trade deadline was a success. We did what we needed to do. We got rid of everyone who was going to leave for nothing in the offseason. We got a bunch of prospects in return. I don't know who's going to pan out. Even if no one does, I'm still happy to, shed some salary. I do like the return in the the Kikuchi trade. I know the Astros fans were very upset about that and think they overpaid. They gave up, I forget his name, Jake Bloss or something like that. I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen him pitch, but I've heard good things. I don't know when he's gonna debut for the Jays, but the Astros fans were not happy about that. But I think Kikuchi will be good on the Astros. The Jays pitchers in general have struggled, in the last few months because they haven't got any run support, and they got to go out there thinking they have to be perfect because no one was hitting anything. And I think that just being on a better team is going to help, someone like Kikuchi, actually have some success there. I will say that I am glad that we did not sell extremely low on Bo Bichette. He's obviously been very disappointing this year,
Man,
but
tough.
like at the end of the day, like what are you going to do? You're going to sell him for pennies on the dollar? You might as well just, hold him and hope for a better result next year. And you didn't trade Vlad, which, like, thank God, you know what I mean? He's raking now.
They're trading one of them in the offseason.
I
I hate
wouldn't
to
be
break it to you,
surprised.
Sal.
No, I wouldn't, and I wouldn't be surprised.
But that's fine. That's
and it'll
fine.
probably be Bo Bichette. Like I do think that you keep Vladdy, you move on from Bo Bichette if you need to, but you do it in the offseason when hopefully he's helped his value a little bit. If he can come back this season, I know he's hurt right now, but if he comes back, starts hitting a little bit better, yeah, who knows, man? Like you probably get more during the offseason than you would at the trade deadline.
Yeah, and I think the Blue Jays have some middle infield prospects, assuming they can stay clean. Orelvis, he's kind of on the come up. I know that they've seen some encouraging signs from Joey at first base, right? So. I think what they did was smart. It's not, hey, look, it's a down year. Things definitely did not go according to plan at all. But there's no reason to push the panic button and pull the ejector seat and just blow the whole thing up. I mean, just kind of, hey, still make smart moves. Kind of keep. Don't overreact and panic just because of a one bad season.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like. Even our pitching prospects are injured. You know what I mean? Like Ricky Tideman is injured. Alec Manoah sucks, and you hope he can somehow regain some form at some point in his career. But like you're not gonna just sell the whole farm, sell everything, and like the team could potentially recover next year, and it wouldn't need to be a complete rebuild or anything like that. I am surprised we didn't trade Jose Barrios, though. Like, considering all the value that was being sent out for pitchers, and I thought that there would be contenders out there interested in Barrios.
I mean,
yeah, that was the first.
Go ahead.
What was that?
I was just gonna say that was the first guy that came to mind for me too. I that seemed like a guy that was almost a certainty to get dealt.
Yeah, I thought so too. And
I
even
think
Chris
you
Bassett,
look at what.
I'm sure.
I mean, just look at the haul Kikuchi got. I've butchered that both times, so that's on me. But I think people were probably scared off after seeing what Kikuchi went for, and if that's what he's demanding for a return, like what's Jose Barrios gonna be doing? And as great as he has been at times, he's also been incredibly erratic. So you really just don't know what you're gonna get with him, and to have to part with your top prospects for it. I think a lot of people probably put some things in their back pocket. Another reason why Tariq Skubal wasn't moved at the deadline.
Man, that guy might win the Cy Young.
I'm pretty sure he's going to.
Could you imagine a Cy Young guy getting dealt at the trade deadline? Has that happened before?
Leading contenders have been dealt at the line and basically been traded out of the opportunity to win it.
Yeah, I know. I feel like
right because if you get traded to the other league, you lose that opportunity to win it, right?
Yep, and I think who was it?
Cliff Lee.
He's the all-time greatest deadline deal on multiple occasions. But I'm trying to think. Somebody won it. There's only one person that's won it, and Brent Saberhagen's the one that's coming to mind, but it's not. I don't think that's who it is, and it's somebody in that same era. And name is similar, but yeah, it's only happened one time. But several people have traded. They've been traded out of an award for those reasons.
That's unfortunate, man. They got to do something about that. You should be eligible for the award.
Well, and I am glad at least that they did make because if you remember, they used to just wipe your stats where if you got traded, you just went to 0 on everything. So at least they figured that part out. So thanks, baseball, for at least doing that.
Yeah.
Well, it will be, it'll be exciting to see because just, as we saw last year, if you just kind of get in, weird things can happen. I don't know that anybody who would have foreseen one if we were looking on August 1st and been like, man, who's going to win the NL pennant is the Diamondbacks. Nobody had that in mind. So, them kind of overcoming both the Phillies and the Dodgers. So, like I said, it'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to track along with. Obviously we will have all of those locked and loaded in the Pick'em app. Probably have some sort of MLB playoff promotions to come whenever we get kind of closer in on those pennant races. So, any last final thoughts here from either of you? Just general sports thoughts before we bounce.
I just want to know before we head out, do you guys have a favorite to win the World Series at this point?
I mean, the Vegas favorite is the Phillies, but I feel like the Mariners are probably the best team right now.
I don't know that I can accept that because they are the Mariners. So it'll be hard to separate the Mariners. You can't take the Mariners out of the Mariners. So
that is my.
I'll say, and I'm going to probably make Ryan pretty upset here, but I'll tell you a team that I'm rooting for to at least go as far as possible, just because I can't watch enough of Shohei Ohtani. I mean, I want to see the Dodgers keep winning. And you know what? Like, how crazy would it be? I don't know what his exact timeline is. I know that, initially they just said he was going to get shut down. What if they got to the World Series and all of a sudden he can pitch and his Tommy John is healed? Because that's what people forget is that, like, this guy just decided, hey, like, I'm going to heal after my surgery, I'm going to heal my elbow and I'm not going to pitch for a whole season. What if they're like, hey, I'm good to go. I can pitch now in the World Series. I mean, how crazy would that be?
That's not going to happen. And if it does, I don't know. I'm not really sure I can hate the Dodgers anymore, to be quite honest. But, I mean, if we're going to say the Mariners are going to Mariner, the Dodgers are going to Dodger, because I'm sorry that you want to talk about a Mickey Mouse championship. I don't want to hear anything about the NBA bubble. That was legit. You know what's a Mickey Mouse championship? Playing 60 games in an MLB season and then calling yourself champs in an empty stadium. I'm sorry. No. The Dodgers are the most disappointing team of the last 20 years, and I don't think there's really a second, and their championship is fraudulent. And God, I hope that Walker Buehler and Shohei Ohtani don't come back for the playoffs, because that will make me want to cry.
Well, they just got Kershaw back and Glasnow back. And, I feel like every year they add about 8 bullpen. They add like every team's best bullpen player, where it's like once we get into the playoffs and then, Dave Roberts starts following his spreadsheet and he dips into his bullpen in the 5th inning and they just march out 8 closers in a row, like guys who started the season as a closer somewhere else. And they just march all of them out one by one, like each one to kind of do their own inning. So I don't know, man, it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Well, one thing's for sure is the Cardinals will not be competing for that championship.
Yeah.
You don't believe that. You do not believe that. You do not believe that. I talk to you every day. You do not believe that.
Look, shout out our guy Monza, big Brewers fan. He was actually just hitting me up yesterday saying how he thought the Cardinals were an undervalued team to not only win the division, but maybe, make a deep run. So,
well, the Brewers also are pretty irrelevant.
And shortly after he texted me that, just a few short hours later, the Cardinals won 10-1. We had Tommy Slam fam back in action. And, you can't say we haven't seen something like this maybe happen before, where it gets a little bit of magic and it's just kind of a squirrel runs across the infield and then like things start getting weird and it's like, oh man, team of destiny. Yeah. Team of destiny.
But you're forgetting one major component there, and I don't think that this can be overstated. Chris Carpenter is one of the best pitchers of the generation. Now, he doesn't have the accolades as far as accumulated numbers, but I mean, when you talk about like years of dominance and the years that they were dominant, I mean, for a solid 7-year stretch, I mean, Chris Carpenter was as good as anybody in baseball, and nobody wanted to face him. And you want to talk about magic, and that's the greatest thing that I've ever seen. Like that run. I mean, it was everything about it. But there is no Chris Carpenter on this team. Sonny Gray is great.
It started in the wild card. What was crazy is it started actually in the first game of the playoffs in that wild card matchup between him and Roy Halladay, which I think they went they both pitched complete games, and the game finished 1-0, and then was overshadowed in the final play by Ryan Howard tearing his Achilles on the final out of the game. Am I remembering that correctly? That was Carpenter and Roy Halladay. I mean, it feels like ancient history, but it wasn't.
Game 5. Oh my God! That was one of the greatest games in postseason history.
It was unbelievable.
That 1-0 game. They scored one run, the second batter of the game, nothing else. And I mean, dude, I still remember my heart dropping whenever Chase Utley hit the ball to the wall. And this is whenever you were peak Phillies fans. So there was a little bit of
as we were talking, one of the potentially the greatest second baseman we've ever seen in Chase Utley.
That is not anything in the conversation we were having. Ian Kinsler is twice as good as Chase Utley, but that's really not even up for discussion. But that was just a magical run from the wild card to David Freese, the greatest Game 6, the greatest World Series game of all time. Sorry, Don Larson. I mean, there's never been anything more magical than what we watched in 2011, and we'll never have it again because Mozeliak is ruining the franchise. And Sonny Gray is not Chris Carpenter. Oh, dude. I'm over here getting giddy about it. I mean, that's truly a core moment for me. You don't understand how deep my Cardinals roots are. What the way I speak about them now is after years of deflation and disappointment and being gaslit by a man in a bow tie.
Well, I don't know a lot of certainly not in the NL Central, but not a lot of other baseball fans are going to look onto the Cardinals and be like, man, you know who I really feel bad for is the tortured Cardinals fan base who just has never been able to experience any level of sustained success. As I will remind people that last year was as they had over 80 wins, it was like the worst season that they've had in the past 2 decades. So maybe that was 2 years ago, but still. Just to keep things in perspective here. But as we have up here, throwing in the Telegram community, jump in there. We got a baseball thread now. So if you want to sound off and maybe shed some tears or feel bad for the tortured Cardinals fan base, you can give us some love in there, facing off with the Cubs this weekend. So if you want to talk Jays, you want to talk, looking into next year and how, what was it this time last year that the Jays fans thought they were potentially getting Shohei Ohtani. So things can kind of turn very quickly. Fortunes can go up or down very quickly in baseball.
I'll never forget Kikuchi booking some sushi reservations and how crazy the city went, man. I put on my Shohei Ohtani jersey and I was walking around just super hyped, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. Man.
But at least now you got Lou Dort to kind of help bridge that gap. But well, one last reminder, get in there, make your picks, make your baseball picks, make your football picks. Keep an eye out for, as we have more Olympic basketball picks heading into this weekend, and we're just going to keep the football picks coming. So
one more piece of little alpha
before
we go, man. I forgot to mention, and I wanted to bring this up at the top of the show, but the monthly leaderboard is back. It's officially back. If you go to your dashboard, you can now, and it's August 1st today, so you got a fresh start. Monthly leaderboard is back. Cash prizes for the top 3 every month. And so, guys, get on the app, make your picks now. You got a full slate of baseball games. You got a little football. You got basketball in there. Get your picks in now. Earn those cash prizes. And yeah, man, there's a weekly leaderboard as well, just for you to keep track and keep tabs of how you're racking up against your competition. Look at you at the top, man.
Yeah, well, I know. I mean, that's why we have the show, right? It's like if people want free picks, as we've said over and over again, all we're doing here, we're giving out free picks. If you want to get here and rack up points, this is the show that you need to be tuning into.
Yep. Hit that monthly button for me real quick. There you go. There you go. So you got cash prizes for the top ranked, performers for the month. And you also get some bonus reward points as well, in addition to the cash prizes. So, looking forward to seeing how that plays out. I see you've already got some points racked up, but I'm over there in ninth, so we'll see.
Yep, and Rhyme is nowhere to be found. So,
yeah, I've been a little deep in the Black Dragon trenches, so I haven't been able to participate as much. I can't even front.
Out there running for sweat coins, racking up the sweat coins instead of the TENAMINT tokens. So,
yeah, join us in the Sweatcoin app, Black Dragon Squad Athletic Club. Yeah, we're gonna be giving out a whole bunch of prizes, and Sweatcoin, TENAMINT. Don't know what happens in the future, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, some nice little alignment there, man, in the world of athletics and sports and fitness and all of that. So, but yeah, man, definitely check out the Sweat app. You got to tell me what is the Black Dragon promo? What's going on? What we got?
Right now we started off as the Black Dragon Squad Club. We're turning it into the Black Dragon Squad Athletic Club. Basically just inviting people to join. It's a close-knit community of people just really encouraging and holding them accountable, and hopefully inspiring others to be able to get active. So just another way for the community to be able to get involved, trying to make it a little more fun, a little more social. And I know that in the future we're going to be doing some more collaborative merch lines, and that's going to be part of the giveaway series where it's really hard to be able to see how legitimate everything is. When you talk about step count, there's just a lot of different things that go into that. So we are going to be rewarding people for different social engagement. So posting funny pictures, updates of your workouts, and monthly going to have a lot more fashion forward, more athleisure wear type of merch lines that we are collaborating with on the Black Dragon and Sweatcoin team. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And, as we all know, all roads lead to Olympic Village. And, we'll have a whole suite of different jerseys and kits for people to choose from. So from their favorite sports.
Nice, man. I just joined.
Hey.
I'm club. I got to get my steps in though, man.
You're officially in the Black Dragon Squad. We're an inclusive
106
bunch.
million steps already.
Wow. And so these reset every week or month or something along those lines as well?
Every day actually. So it starts the clock. So we're going to be doing some more gamifications. This is, very much the first introduction of, our activation in the partnership. So if you want to call it beta, I think that would be fair. But it will be a whole lot more kind of comprehensive and involved, and, a little bit more gamified as, things roll out the next weeks and months.
Nice, man. Nice. Maybe you get a TENAMINT club going.
That makes sense.
Hey, don't leak all the alpha yet, right? So we can't put all the plans out there. But all right, guys. Well, last time, thanks again for joining. Get in there, make your picks, sound off, and join the Black Dragon Squad if you'd like. and we will see you again next time.
See you next week, man. Cheers. Have a good weekend.
Peace, y'all.